Hello and welcome to my Fibromyalgia collaboration video. The theme was purple or butterflies, so I am doing both. I am going to attempt to make 4 different items using 4 different techniques. Spoiler alert, the 4th one is a failure. The first technique I'm using is brushing on powders. And the powders that I'm using are the Resin chameleon powders. If you're new and you don't know this yet, here's tip number 1. The colour that you put down first, the one that touches the silicone, is the colour you will see on your finished project. That's why I'm cleaning up as I go initially. When I come to the last colour, so all of the blank spaces will be the same colour, I'm a bit less careful. However, do bear in mind that when you put colours behind colours, that can change the appearance of the first colour. Tip number 2, but not really a tip because it should be common sense. Don't be an idiot like me and leave powders open right next to where you're moving your hands about. I thought I was being quite clever using a pipette to try and clean up my powders, and I wasn't. It took too long. I ended up scooping the rest up with a spoon. Anyway, back to the project. Does anybody else find it therapeutic to paint powders onto their moulds? I do. I also find it therapeutic to watch it being done. So I'm going to leave this footage in. It is sped up, so obviously it's not going to be too long. I'm going to leave it in with a music time-lapse for people who do like to see it. Obviously, if you don't, you can skip ahead as long as you're not watching the premiere. But before I do that, thank you to Kel and Tina. That's Kel at Gert Creates and Tina at Pour Resin with Love for organising this collaboration. I love making jewellery, I like butterflies, and I like the colour purple, so this was a perfect project for me. The playlist for this collaboration will be in my description box. Please go and check out all of the other videos.
Shades of violet in the quiet light, fragile wings but they still take flight, painted in whispers, soft and slow, stories only silent hearts can know. Every shimmer holds a hidden fight, every sparkle born from long nights. We rise in purple skies, through the ache, through unseen cries, like butterflies. We learn to fly, even on the hardest nights. We shine the worn inside.
Right, I'm going to start off by using my pre-coloured black UV resin. Again, for those of you who don't know, chameleon powders are best backed with black. However, if you mix your own colouring into normal clear UV resin, you run the risk of it not curing. So for something like this, I do like to use the pre-coloured because it isn't as opaque as I would make myself. I guess you could make a very weak concentration of colour to start with, just to make sure that it cures fully on the display side. But the extra benefit of that is you can see bubbles. With an intricate mould like this, if you went straight for a pure black, let's say you were using epoxy and you went straight for a pure black, you won't be able to see bubbles trapped in the intricate details. And you don't want to spray alcohol because then you'll mess up your powders. So if you have a slightly opaque colour, slightly translucent colour, you should be able to see and lift up bubbles on the display side. And then when you back it further, then you can make it more opaque, because at the risk that there are any bubbles in that second layer, at least they're not going to show on the front of your piece.
Strength we cannot hide in every wing, a truth untold, a quiet courage, fierce and bold.
Okay, we're going to leave this one here and save the demold until the end and move on to number 2. Number 2, I'm just making the butterflies clear initially. I decided to experiment by spraying alcohol first. I wanted to know whether it helps with bubbles in UV resin, and I don't know whether it helps with bubbles, but it clearly doesn't do your UV resin any good. So here I am making them again. And the technique that I'm going to do for this one, because it's holographic, I wanted the patches to stay clear to show off that holograph. But I have mixed powder with 99% alcohol, and I'm just flooding the details. Clearly, I'm not saving a demold until the end for this one, but I am going to do some extra blinging up at the end of the video, as well as attach the jewellery.
3 small wings, 3 paths entwined, beauty shaped by a fragile mind, piece by piece through careful hands, turning pain into something grand, every detail softly placed, a gentle fight the world can't trace. We rise in purple skies, through the ache, through unseen cries, like butterflies we learn to fly, even on the hardest nights. We shine the worn inside, carrying the strength we cannot hide, in every wing a truth untold.
Okay, project number 3, and I wanted another quite detailed mould for this one. And again, I'm just using powders. These are Aurora powders, by the way, from Temu. Other than the whites that have the delicate shimmer of a different colour, I don't know what the difference is. So there's purple and pink. They just look like a mica powder to me. Anyway, the way that I'm doing this one is to just dump in the 2 different colours in patches to hopefully make a sort of marbled effect. It doesn't turn out quite how I expected it, but I think that's just because the colours are quite not similar. You can clearly see the purple and the pink, but when the resin is cured, I don't know whether that helped the colours to look a bit too similar. I also wondered whether these powders would have been best backed with black as well. And I didn't think to try it at the time, but I might try that at some point in the future as well. Perhaps even a white. I might do a black versus white backing comparison video at some point.
A quiet courage, fierce and bold. On the days the weight won't ease, and every breath feels hard to keep, still there's beauty, still there's grace, and every mark the struggle leaves.
So when demoulding, I noticed it was underpoured, so I'm just giving it a top coat. Having the lip around it prevents the resin leaking over the sides. Nothing left really to see on number 3, so let's jump ahead to number 4. Who's ready to see my failed technique? If you have any advice on this technique, I would love to hear it. I'm starting by just making a clear butterfly, which I will then cure before I perform the actual technique. Here we are then. I am applying a gilding adhesive, which I will leave for approximately 1 hour to go tacky. Right, ready for the fun part? Not. I bought these coloured foil sheets, intending to use them for an Easter project, and just didn't have time. So I thought this would be a good technique to try for this video. Now, I anticipated that these would be tricky to use, especially when it's my first time. However, I really underestimated how difficult it would be. I've slowed it down because I don't want you to miss the first accident that I have. Just comparing the colours to see if they are too similar or not. I don't even wait until I start putting it on the butterfly before I have my first accident. Oops, it slipped out of its protective sheet and is now stuck to my silicone mat. Note that I said that that was my first accident. There's more to come. Okay, so I tried to lift some of that up off the mat, putting the brush underneath the raised bits, but didn't get much out of it. I can't remember how many colours I tried to use, but just keep watching that bottom left corner again. Again, I'm just trying to put this on in patches like I did with the powder on Technique 3. And there you go, I have dropped a second sheet. Now, I wouldn't mind wasting some because it's a learning curve. If I could at least get it onto the butterfly smoothly. But that looks a right mess, doesn't it? So I do attempt this technique again. Keep watching to see the results of that one.
We rise, still we rise, with gentle strength behind our eyes. Like butterflies, we redefine what it means to heal in time. We glow in soft purples, a silent fight.
For this one, I use a smaller butterfly so that I waste less resin if it goes wrong again. But at the same time, I have a bit of confidence thinking that I have learned my lessons. So I would do do 2 little hearts as well, in the hopes that if it does go right, I can make some sort of dangly project. My idea for this one was, if I not drop, but quickly place the tacky pieces onto the foil, then it will go on smoothly. Now, first of all, I had difficulty picking them up and placing them down because they're tacky. At the sides too, because I wanted the foil to go around the sides, so I used the gilding adhesive on the sides as well. Placing them down, I didn't think was too difficult, but it just went to pot when I tried to push the foil up onto the sides. Have you also noticed I have removed my silicone mat and replaced it with a piece of board? At least I'm learning something. Every day is a school day, as they say.
In a quiet room, late night glow, mixing dreams with resin slow. Some ideas I already know, some scare me half to death, but I still go. Epoxy waves and UV light, trying to get it wrong to get it right. Hands not perfect, that's okay, every mark is part of the way. I step outside what feels safe and known, build something beautiful on my own. If it breaks, I'll show you why. If it works, we'll both fly. I make it with a heart, every part. Love in the mess, love in the art. If I say I should have, you'll understand. If I can't fix it, you still learn from my hands. Made with a heart from the start. This is creating with a heart.
Yeah, this one's looking terrible as well. So I've given up on that until I either get some brilliant advice from you lovely viewers or do more research. So now to do some blinging and attaching jewellery. This is the second time I've attempted to do this mould, and the first time I didn't have big enough jump rings, so I've bought a set of jump rings that have various sizes, and although I use big enough jump rings, I just don't feel like they sit right. If you have used this mould, how do you position the small wing over the top wing? And do you leave them flopping about, or do you glue them in a certain position? Let me know, I'd be really grateful, thank you. Right, apologies, I don't appear to have kept the footage for putting the rest of the jewellery on, but I think there's not really much to see there anyway, other than watch me struggle. So why have I started to recently get a bit more inspiration to bling up my projects? Well, the reason is I have leftover diamonds from diamond art, and some of my projects use the more rhinestone type diamonds rather than just the matte diamond drills. Now I am going to let you see me struggle, albeit not in real time, using B7000 to stick these rhinestones on. I hate B7000 tubes. The one I'm starting with at the moment is one that was already open, but I haven't used it a lot because, as I say, I don't usually bling up my projects. So it's by no means anywhere near empty, but I just struggled and struggled to get any glue out. So I end up opening another tube, and I struggled with that as well. Whilst we're looking at this butterfly, can you see, I know it's not perfect because of the lighting, but can you see how the colours have blended into each other a bit more now that they are in cured resin rather than how it appeared when I powdered the mould? So yeah, I think maybe a black versus white versus clear backing video is due. And also maybe I just needed to pick some colours that were a bit more different. I thought pink and purple would look gorgeous together, but what other colour would you put with purple? Almost time for the glamour shots. So don't forget to check out the collaboration playlist. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.
In a quiet room, late night glow, mixing dreams with resin slow. Some ideas I already know, some scare me half to death, but I still go. Epoxy waves and UV light, trying to get it wrong to get it right. Hands not perfect, that's okay. Every mark is part of the way. I step outside, would feel safe and known. Build something beautiful on my own. If it breaks, I'll show you why. If it works, we'll both fly. I make it with heart, every part. Loving the mess, loving the art. If I say I should have, you'll understand. If I can't fix it, you still learn from my hands. Made with a heart from the start. This is creating